Welcome back. This is CerealSnax. Today I'm looking at a game called S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl, and I've actually got this game modded with S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete 2009, which is a huge mod that has not only increased the graphics but has also, added sounds and just all kinds of gameplay features that make it a better game. Now, I haven't played a whole lot of this game, so this is more of a first impressions than a review, but the reason I'm doing a first impressions is because I think it's a great game, and I really want to just talk about it, at first. And if later on people want to hear my review of it, then I will post that. But for now, just kind of my first impressions. You can see I'm actually just got to an area where I'm fighting these bandits, and I will say that combat in this game is a little bit hard at first. You start out with a pistol that is very ineffective, and you die very quickly in this game. So it is challenging, which is actually sort of refreshing to not kind of just walk in like Serious Sam and destroy everybody and their brother, right, without even breaking a sweat. I feel like I need to be a lot more tactical in this game to really kill the enemies. So regardless, let me talk about S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl, what it's all about. It's really just an open world first-person shooter, very similar in my mind to games like Fallout, although it doesn't have like that VATS feature, and it's a little more difficult than Fallout. But it's very similar in terms of its setting and its style. It's set in kind of an alternate reality where there's another disaster at Chernobyl, and that second disaster has caused people and animals around the area of Chernobyl to become irradiated and have mutated and all that sort of stuff. It's a very interesting storyline. The storyline, you get quests very much like an MMO, and you can decide to take those quests and do those quests whenever and however you want to do them. So it's definitely got those RPG elements to it to some extent. Although your character doesn't really level up and you don't get new skills, there are these artifacts that you can find within the zone, and those artifacts can be attached to your character and give you other traits that you can then use. So you start out and you're really this guy with amnesia, stalker. They call you the Marked One, and it's a pretty similar trope, I guess, to Fallout and Fallout New Vegas and such things, where you kind of wake up, you don't know who you are, what the heck's going on, and you're shooting these bandits. You can see I'm kind of concentrating on shooting these bandits, but like I said, the combat is very difficult. This is actually the third time I've come in this area, and so I'm getting shot, and the third time, and actually the first two times I just completely died because I tried to flank these guys from the rear, and this time I'm actually following the other mercenaries that are with me instead of going off on my own. So I like this S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete. When I first loaded up the game without S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete, it did seem a little bit dated to me, the graphics. And because the game did come out in 2007, which is really pretty impressive how well it's held up, because that was 5 years ago. And the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete, which was actually created in 2009, they call it S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete 2012 now, and I'll put a link in the bottom of the video. But it really upgrades the game's graphics to some extent. It's not a huge upgrade, but it's because the game already looked great to begin with. It's already held up very well. So you can see this quest. I had to get this guy that was kidnapped. So another interesting tidbit about this game, when I was reading about it, before I started playing it, was that S.T.A.L.K.E.R is actually an acronym. I wondered about it because it says S.T, S period T period A period L, it actually stands for Scavengers, Trespassers, Adventurers, Loners, Killers, Explorers, and Robbers. And that really does explain what this game is all about. You can see there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of trading and conversation in the game, which differentiates it from other first-person shooters. So it really does sit in between kind of the first-person shooters, like I use Serious Sam as an example, but like Doom 3, and all that, and the Fallout third-person type games. It's kind of in between those, I would say. And it's very difficult. It's very challenging, especially at first, and I don't know if it gets easier as time goes on. I'm guessing it doesn't. I'm guessing it's always kind of got a challenging feel to it. I thought it was going to be more of a horror type game, and it really isn't that. It's not like an Amnesia by any extent. I started this video out, and it was very dark in this area, and it's actually gotten quite a bit lighter now. So my video wasn't perfect here in the beginning, just because of how dark the game gets in the early hours of the morning. The time passes just like you would expect in reality, right? So it actually gets brighter. You can see there's a lot of neat art and bookshelves and beds and all that stuff lying around. One thing that's kind of there's a lot of chests and stuff lying around, but it seems like for me there's been nothing in them. So all I've got is this silly pistol, which is terrible, and hopefully I can upgrade that at some point in time. From what I was reading, if you actually play the game without the S.T.A.L.K.E.R complete, it actually is more difficult than it is with S.T.A.L.K.E.R complete. So it's kind of funny that I'm actually finding it difficult, because what I read online is that people were saying S.T.A.L.K.E.R complete makes it seem far too easy, but I would say that is not the case. It's still very challenging for me as well. So I picked this up in the Steam sale that happened recently, and I believe I paid only, I believe it was $5, it may have been $3.75 for this game, and $3.75 for the Call of Pripyat, which is the sequel to this one, which I've heard is just as good. Actually, I think Clear Sky was the sequel, and Call of Pripyat is the one after that. Call of Pripyat's the third one. I've heard that Clear Sky is worth, you can just pass on it. See, now this is cool. Look at these crazy wild radiated animals running along the side of the road. But I've heard you can pass on S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky, that it's not near as good as this one or the Call of Pripyat. I'm really looking forward to that Call of Pripyat, because it was released in 2010, so 3 years after this one, so I'm guessing that it's going to be pretty amazing. I've heard some really good things about it. So I'm going to run down this road here and just kind of show you. During the daytime, it actually reminds me a lot of DayZ. Although I haven't played a lot of DayZ, when I did play it, the graphics are very similar, and it's kind of funny. This game, it's interesting that nobody's modded this game to do similar to what DayZ has done, although there is no multiplayer. Well, there is multiplayer aspect to this, but I don't think it's worth discussing, really. But I guess they could have modded it to be like DayZ. So you can see here that I'm actually turning in a quest. I got a jellyfish, which is very interesting, some of the interesting stuff. And I can take new jobs. The new job is to destroy this lair of boars. And they're not just normal boars, of course. They're irradiated mutant boars. So it's pretty funny. There's a guy playing a guitar there. That's neat. There's a lot of neat, and I say the word neat a lot, but I guess what I mean is there's a lot of very detailed kind of environmental things that are going on. You can see the shadows, and all the bushes are waving. People playing their guitars and playing their music. You just feel very immersed in a game like this, and I'm guessing that's why this game has become so popular. And of course, I'm posting my first impressions, and this game has been out forever. There's probably 1,000 videos out on YouTube. I haven't even looked, but I like to keep my impressions fresh from whatever else is out there right now. Now, of course, this guy I can take more missions from, and last I checked, he does a lot of talking about the storyline, so there's a lot of story and a lot of reading, so if you like that, that's great. And of course, you can skip through it if you don't. So there's a lot of neat kind of background that this game has, which I like. I like to be able to feel, like, it makes you feel even more immersed in the story. So once you get through all this, and of course you probably aren't reading this right now because I'm just giving you my first impression, but you can actually take all these new tasks and their quests, and you can do them in any order that you want. So, and then you can say, got any more special missions? And they'll have a bunch more missions that you can then follow. So, pretty crazy game. Limited 2 bandits. See, what I'm hoping is if I can take some of these quests, I will then be able to get like a really cool gun of some sort. I have a shotgun now, of course, that I got, but I don't know that that's really that great. A jellyfish artifact quest, which will be nice because I can have an artifact. And then, so I'm going to first do this quest that I got from the guy in the road and go get the customer what is promised. And this will kind of give you an opportunity to see more of the environment as I'm running along. As you're running along in the environment, I'm opening up my PDA. You can pick which quest you want to track and follow. Let's see here. We've got, can go to this one, destroy the boar lair. So let's go destroy that lair real quick. If I can figure out how to add the tracker on here. Nope, nothing yet here. Let's see. Oh, maybe I just double click. There we go. So I got the boar lair tracking. Let me run and check that out. So, yeah, see, now that it's daytime, you get to really kind of see how incredible this game is, considering how dated it is. It's amazing to me. Like, I did a review of Mirror's Edge, and that game isn't that old, maybe a year or two, and I would argue that this game looks just as good, if not better. Oh, and here we go. Got some boars, and these are like massive boars. I guess they don't look too irradiated, but enough. Oh, and that wasn't too hard, actually. So that was a simple quest. So let's see here. We've got some random boxes lying around this tree. Alright. So I've got the main quest, which is the kill Straylock, and then of course all the other quests. I really want to do all the surrounding quests before I continue the main quest. I kind of like to do that as a completionist kind of point of view. This next one is to run and get this box. So what I'll do is I'll run and I'll show you just some more of the environment as I'm running. And one thing to note is that there's pockets of radiation around, and like that. And you get, I don't know if that's radiation or what that is, but there's some areas that you get caught in, and it causes incredible amount of damage. And I believe there are pockets of radiation that have done some really strange paranormal things to the environment. So you want to avoid that. You can kind of see the air rippling. Here, yeah, there we go. The air is sort of rippling over there, and you just want to avoid those areas. Ooh, almost got caught in that one too. And you want to just keep running and just keep staying away from that sort of stuff. This game is not what I expected when I heard about it originally. Stalker, I thought it was kind of a night thing where you're always in underground tunnels, always in subways, always kind of hiding and in the dark. And I was very pleased to find that you're running in the overworld quite a lot. The other very interesting thing about this game is that, from what I've read, the buildings and all the destroyed kind of stuff that is lying around, the fences, everything is actually modeled after the area around Chernobyl. So it's actually supposed to be, by scale and just by the textures and the photographs and everything, it's supposed to actually look like the real area that Chernobyl is located in, which to me is incredible and makes you feel, again, I keep saying this, but it makes you feel very immersed in the game, because you actually feel like you're wandering around an area that does actually exist on Earth right now. There's something in the dark. There's it's like a badger. Reload here while he's biting on me. Oh, little Tasmanian devil rabid radiated thing. Maybe that's like an irradiated rat. I don't know. So, but it does make you feel like, wow, this is an actual location on Earth, and then of course you lead to the next thought, which is, wow, this could actually happen, right? That you could actually have another radiation disaster that could do something like this to the world around it. So this concludes my first impressions of S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Shadow of Chernobyl. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did. Catch you again soon.